it can be a hassle connecting a keyboard and monitor to a Raspberry Pi just so that you can set up the Wi-Fi adapter, because the rest of the time you don't want the keyboard and monitor connected. You just want to be able to secure shell from the other computers to the Raspberry Pi. So you don't actually have to connect up a keyboard and monitor. You can configure the Wi-Fi adapter on your Raspberry Pi after you've written the SD card, the operating system, to it, and then just configure the Wi-Fi, and as soon as you boot, the Wi-Fi will work straight away. You can secure shell to it. So I'll show you how to do that. First of all, I'll go through the whole process of writing the SD card as well. So if I go to my data directory, and I've got an image here of Raspbian, and first of all, when you download it from the website, it zips up. So first of all, you unzip it. And I'll skip through some of these processes, and I'll edit the video so that it doesn't take so long. So it'll take a while for me to inflate this this file, and then I'll continue after I've skipped it. Okay, now the image has been unzipped. In order to write it to an SD card, you need to be a root user. So I'll change it to a root user. And there's the unzipped image at the top. When you write an image to an SD card, you want to make sure that you're writing it to the correct place, because you can overwrite a disk and you can completely ruin your laptop if you write to the wrong place. So what I tend to do to identify is I run this command, -layout/dev/SD, and then I've hit the tab key, and that shows me what devices I've got. So both of these devices are hard disks, SDA and SDB are hard disks. Now if I plug in my SD card adapter, I hit tab, it should appear in just a second. There it is, SDC. So I can be reasonably sure that my SD card which I'm going to write my operating system to is SDC. I'll do a second check, so I'll delete that command and I'll go fdisk, and I just test the SDC which I want to write to. So I type P when I'm in fdisk, and it shows me a summary. And I know that my SD card is 4 GB, so that's a good sign there. It's a 4 GB device, and there's no partitions on it at the minute. It's just blank ST. So I'll quit out of that, and now in order to write to the SD card, my image, I go dd if, which is input file, equals the image that I want to write to it, of equals /dev SDC, which is the device I identified up here as being the SD card, and then I do BS, which is block size, and I tend to say equals 100 meg, so it writes 100 megabyte at a time. So if I hit return on that, that starts writing the image to the SD card. This will take a little while, so I'll continue once this is finished. Okay, so that took a little while to write to my SD card, but I've skipped over that just to make the video a bit shorter. Once it's written to the SD card, I could actually take the SD card out and now put it in the Raspberry Pi, and the Pi would boot up into the operating system. Trouble is, I wouldn't be able to communicate it with it because it doesn't know what my Wi-Fi configuration is. It doesn't know the SSID, or it doesn't know the encryption key which I have on my Wi-Fi. So you're not going to believe how easy it is to set up Wi-Fi without having to boot into your Raspberry Pi. So over here on the left, I've got a couple of example files. So this one here is just an example configuration of the file that you have to change. You only have to change one file. These top two lines you leave as they are, and then you add the lines for every, so you can have multiple Wi-Fi configurations. So for every Wi-Fi network you want to add, you just add another set of these lines, and you only have to add whatever your SID is of your Wi-Fi, and your pre-shared key. Mine isn't this, so this is just like an example, so I won't show what mine actually is, and the key, the encryption type. And then how you get that into the actual onto your actual SD card. After it's written the image to the card, the best thing to do is unplug your SD card adapter and then plug it back in, and it should auto mount the partitions which have been written to it. Okay, so there they are, and they appear on the screen. And what's important is, you don't have to worry about the boot one at all, so I'll close that. This one over here, what I'm interested in is the 13D, because that's how it's mounted. So in order to edit the file, I'm still as root in the command line, because the file on the SD card is actually owned by root, so I need to be as root. So if I type gedit, and then under the media directory, under user, and then it starts off with the 13D, so if I type 13D in tab, so that takes me into the partition, and then it's under etc, and then it's under the W, can't remember what it was, WPA supplement, and then the file itself is called wpasupplement.conf. So if I type gedit that opens the one on the SD card up. As you can see, there's nothing in there. So all you would take is, as an example, these lines, copy them from there, paste them into there, and if this is your SD card, as soon as you save that, okay, now your SD card is now configured to connect to your Wi-Fi network as soon as the Raspberry Pi boots up. Now, my actual configuration is in this other file, so what I'll do is I'll copy that file onto the Raspberry Pi. So I'll copy it into where it should go. So now, if I list that directory, it should show it as being updated. Now what I'll do is you need to actually cleanly unmount the SD card. So I'll click on eject for the SD card, and you can now unplug it from your computer. And what I'll do is I'll put it into my Raspberry Pi, and I'll boot up my Raspberry Pi. It may take a couple of minutes for your Raspberry Pi to boot for the first time, so I'll give it a couple of minutes as well. So I've inserted it, and now I'm going to power up my Raspberry Pi. Okay, switched on the Raspberry Pi. Now what you can do now is you can inspect your network to see when the Raspberry Pi turns up, because you can automatically pick up what the IP address it has. And to do that, you type a command AVA HI AVA HI browse, and then -AR, and it should show you all the machines on your network. So I can see my Ubuntu machines. So the Raspberry Pi isn't there yet, but it should automatically appear in this list when it comes up. So I'll give it a second. Oh, there it is, Raspberry Pi local, and it's got this IP address. So what I should be able to do now is to SSH to it. I've got to make sure that I use the username Pi. Now it may take, when it appears on the network, that's the network configuration appearing. Now it may take a little while for the SSH protocol to come available, so give it a minute or so for that. And they are SSH'd into the Raspberry Pi from a clean install of an OS on the SD card, without needing to connect a keyboard and monitor to your Raspberry Pi.